The Mental Wind Down with Stu and Henriette, a show talking all things mental health.
How are we doing? So welcome to the Mental Wind Down. This is sort of a continuation on from, if any of you lived and listened to our radio show that we had on South Birmingham Radio. We're bringing it to our home and the sofa. This is the comfy corner.
Yeah.
Normally where we sit when we haven't got a seat from the kids. So yeah, as the jingle just said, it's going to be a podcast stroke live for YouTube on mental health and life and ups and downs of life and yeah, just everything that encompasses it really. I'm very conscious of my belly. We've had the video on for a little bit and I've leant forward to grab the wine, come back, and then my t-shirt pops up and leaves a little black hole showing. So I'm conscious. Anyway.
Well, we've had wardrobe changes and I've even put makeup on. So.
Yeah, first time in COVID, makeup.
Yeah.
New woman.
Yeah.
So should we introduce ourselves?
Yeah.
Want to go first?
Yeah, I can do.
Go on then.
Yeah. Obviously I'm Henriette. I live with you.
Lifelong dream. Lifelong dream.
Is that what defines me? No. I don't know how to introduce myself.
What do you do?
Well, I work for. I'm self-employed, so I'm a photographer. Got like a portfolio career.
Yeah.
I'm a photographer, and I also work for a company called This Can Happen, which is all about mental health in a workplace. It's an awesome company, and we just run online event because of COVID. Normally a massive conference in London. We're helping workplaces empower themselves so they can be better at mental health.
All communication's good.
Yep,
Yeah.
definitely.
I'm Stu, personal trainer for 12 years. Now I manage or assistant manager of a gym down the road in Redditch. And that's about it really. I've done loads though. I was ex-Navy. I won't go through all the jobs I've had. There's been far too many. Good at some, shit at others. So we've been together for.
I have no idea.
Don't know when it started. So we've been living together for a year, ish. We've had this house for a year, haven't you?
Yeah, we've lived together for a year. Yeah.
Yeah. Although I had a flat and then I was living here and yeah. So yeah, we've been
kind of.
Yeah, sort of. We first met at a networking event, and then the relationship blossomed, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, Henry was a photographer. I was a personal trainer, looking for work, and we ended up getting together and writing a book. What there?
There.
Yeah.
Conveniently displayed.
Yeah. Product placement. We can't sell them, so we might as well just show it to the world.
Absolutely.
And then we got together to write a book, and then from that friendship went on and ended up being together. Haven't looked back, have you?
No. Well, I don't know. Might feel different after all these COVID times.
We've done all right.
We have done it right, actually. Yeah.
Before COVID,
we had ups and downs.
Before COVID, we were going to Lanzarote for a week, and even though we've lived together, we haven't had like sort of 24/7, 7 days of spending.
Both busy people.
Yeah, of spending that time together. Yeah. Like the holiday, you've been to holiday together, but it's been with the kids or whatever. Yeah. Well, that space of time.
We've never done a holiday, just us for 7 days.
No. Ever. And before that, you were like, you're going to be able to cope. Or we're going to be able to cope. Is our relationship going to be all right?
Yeah.
9 weeks in, mate. We're rocking. Yeah. Yeah, it's been 9 weeks ago. That's
9 weeks, yeah.
That's mad.
It's a long time.
So yes, background in mental health.
Both of us, yeah.
Yeah, I've lived with mental illness for quite a few years. I don't like to say suffer because I don't think if you say suffer, it's defeatist attitude, isn't it? It's beating you, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's not a beat me. Well, it nearly beat me.
But
didn't. No. So I lived with it for years. Hence why I wrote the book. Hence why I do quite a lot of talking about it and a few stuff. And then you've experienced as well, haven't you?
Yeah, experiences through loss of a child, which obviously brings on his own mental ill issues, really. And yeah, I think I've actually had a few more down days during these COVID times than you have.
Mm.
I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said that they think that people who are used to living with mental ill health, they cope better in these times because they're used to picking themselves up. And
yeah, we were talking about that, didn't we?
yeah, and it's taken a bit of a shock to people who not normally suffer that much with their mental health. Has actually had a few issues with it.
Yeah, well, someone living with mental illness, a lot of people living with mental illness self-isolate, and they stay away from the wood anyway.
So they're used to.
So sometimes it's a norm for them.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a. Should we just go straight into COVID, cohabiting? I had a blip, and I don't know what point it was all the way through that, but I got to a point and I was like really pissed off with lockdown, and since that blip I've been great. I've been really positive.
You've been better, yeah.
Just because of the flip side, give myself a rollicking as I've done, but now I see the positives in it.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of positives in it.
Yeah.
If you don't read Facebook or the news or anything like that, there's a lot of positive with sitting back from the rat race.
I've enjoyed having a lot more different time with the kids, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like time to do that chat or, you know...
Play,
plant things, go for a daily walk. I've actually quite enjoyed the daily walk. And they don't even complain about it now. It's like a part of everyday life.
Yeah.
It's things like that I think, oh, well, that's great, positive
I've
stuff.
really missed work.
Yeah,
I really miss
I know.
work. But we've got the group, and the group's ticking over and stuff. So
You
just doing their
struggled a little
classes.
bit in the beginning, didn't you, most of the time, as in just with the change of it. And I think you got better and better and better.
Yeah. It's become the norm now, hasn't it? 9 weeks. If you're thinking about like habit changes and stuff, the norm is
21 days, isn't
21 days, yeah, to form a habit, they say. I think it's been alright. Homeschooling?
Oh, no, I don't. I'm going to be honest about that.
Well, we started off really well.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a lot. You can't fault the schools at all because they send loads of stuff home that you could do. And I think the headmasters of the kids' school have been quite good because they said, "Oh, don't worry about it. Don't stress yourself out," which I really needed to hear because I was stressing myself out by not being good enough. And I'm thinking, I'm going to fail as a mother and fail at this.
We spoke that it's keeping up the Joneses, though, isn't it? Because I know some of the messages that people put on Instagram and Facebook aren't real. With you know, it's all about the perception, isn't it? You could be lying down in the sand, have a photo, and all that lot, but it ends up being like a builder's yard with the sand and stuff, and it's a load of rubbish. So you got to take a pinch of salt with people that do post it, saying, "Oh, fantastic 6 hours in the classroom today." Hubert did all of his times tables before 10. And you're like, really? We're not teachers.
Yeah.
You're not a teacher.
No, definitely not. I'm
so
not a teacher.
we can't be expected to take them through the curriculum or whatever. And for what you've been doing with the kids and doing the life skills, like planting and cleaning and going out for a walk, and
we had
I
a
think it's
nice
much better.
planting session the other day, and actually whilst we were planting, the whole planting session turned out to be a bit of like a PHSE sex education at the same time, because the youngest one asked some questions and she said, "Oh, how does this happen and how did that happen?" And because the older one, who's 16, her face just turned and she went, "Oh no, really, we're going to do this." My 11-year-old, he was hiding, not having the conversation, but sort of it developed like that, and that's what I've enjoyed, having that time to say, well, and then chatting everything through and talking to them.
Well, we've even
really.
got an Ofsted picture out in the porch,
The front, yeah.
showing out the front saying Ofsted, bloody awful.
Yeah, it would be awful.
But then, like you said, we're not teachers here, so you can't be expected to do
I follow,
this, that, or whatever.
Well, no, and I think the first time that I thought, okay, it's okay that I'm not great at this, was when I follow an Ofsted inspector on Twitter, and he posted up saying, "I'm rubbish at this. I can't do this. Cannot do homeschooling for Tuffy. I'm finding it really difficult to keep my child interacted and focused. I'm going to give up and do other things." And I thought, you know what? If an Ofsted inspector says that, I'm all good. I can just go, yep, I'm cool.
Oh yeah, and we're different people. A teacher asks your kid to do something, they do it more or less straight away.
They won't do it when I
Mum or
ask.
dad asks a kid to do it, they're like, no.
Yeah. No, definitely not.
So it's completely different
Yeah,
the way
yeah.
they perceive you and a teacher will perceive
Yeah.
a sort of a pillar of authority, which
Yeah.
a teacher is.
Yeah.
Well, definitely was when I was a kid, but then that was.
Oh, they
when
are
used to beat
now
you
as
up.
well, definitely.
But yeah, a pillar of a community, and I
Yeah.
think it's different, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm still conscious of having conscious about my t-shirt pulling up and
Yeah,
relieving myself.
Yeah, definitely. It's a different kind of thing. I mean, we were having like great meal times. We've eaten good food.
Oh, I've eaten great food.
Amazing.
That's been a
food.
great for this COVID time. Is I've cooked every night.
Yeah,
I really enjoy cooking
I think I've only cooked once.
and trying different things.
Mm.
I do live cooking on a Friday night as well for the group. So that's been really good because we've gone to different countries and I've tried things that I've never done before. So it gives me time to look up things and how certain countries do this traditionally and stuff like that. So it's been nice.
Oh, great food.
Been really good food. But they got no. I haven't got to spend money on anything else.
No, I saved a lot on diesel.
Diesel, a hell of a lot of money on
Yeah.
diesel.
On Costa Coffees.
Costa Coffee. I had my first coffee. Takeaway on Friday. I went out for a cycle and then ended up in Stratford. And some of the cafes are open and they're selling the coffees from the door. And I couldn't help myself by getting
I think you get one because I'm used to working from home,
an Americano. Oh, it was amazing.
and I don't often buy Costa Coffees when I work, because working from home is different. But working from home with an entourage of kids and you. If you think about it, this house in the last 9 weeks has been had a lot going on because we've had live exercise classes, we've had Zoom meetings, we've had science lessons over things. I mean, everything that's been going on in this house for the last 9 weeks.
Been busy, isn't it? Just look at
Really
the state
busy.
of the bins every Monday night when we take them out. I'm going on the street with carrier bags trying to fill other people's bins up with me recycling.
Well, even the neighbour said, I know you've been busy, you can borrow our bin.
That's mad.
So it's been busy.
So hopefully we can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah?
Things are starting to move now
Yeah.
with COVID, and the negative press I don't think will stop for a while.
No,
And I think
this is the thing.
we've mentioned, haven't it? And I've Facebook's. Oh, it's just a nightmare.
I very early on, I took off all notifications of the news because I couldn't cope with the death toll being pinged through to my phone constantly. And that really, I suffered with that because I just
It's
thought,
hard, isn't it?
yeah, because it just made me really worry as well then so the next time I actually went shopping, I was like proper scared of actually getting it myself because you worry then about giving it to your kids, and then it just my anxiousness went up. So I thought, right, take all those notifications off. Recently with Facebook, I'm done kind of thing. I'm very selective of what I read and when I read it, if I read it. And if I go on, I might go and search for the things. So I always search for this can happen, and I share our work stuff because I know it's stuff that I full of integrity and true. And all the things that are being shared, which is wrong and is
Because
fake.
it is so easy to fall into that negativity spiral
Definitely.
and get annoyed. And then once you put a comment, obviously you read a comment in a different way that person wants to post it.
Yeah.
Maybe not. And then the amount of times these last couple of weeks I've noticed myself writing a comment and then deleting it all back again and then just coming off it.
Yeah.
Do you know like that meme video
Yeah.
of that bloke and his missus
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
when he's
no,
out on a
yeah,
night out? And
that's
it's exactly the same as that.
Delete. Yeah.
And it's just political, and what people have not got a clue. They just jump on the bandwagon of having a go at somebody
Yeah.
for
For no reason, really. For having a difference of opinion, which is okay. Everybody should have their own opinions without being slated for that opinion.
in retrospect, yeah.
Well, yeah.
No, I agree with it. Everyone deserves an opinion, but if your opinion isn't backed up by a little bit of fact or a little bit of something other,
Knowledge,
then you're like, where was that opinion coming from?
But from the whole big picture of it, if you look at it, I mean, it's even more up to Mental Health Awareness Week starting today, is kindness. They changed that because it was supposed to be about sleep, and they changed it when COVID started because there is a lack of kindness about it. And it's like you say, it's people
I've seen
thinking.
seen that Caroline Flack.
Well, yeah, exactly.
She tragically lost her own life, and it wasn't just down to X, Y, and Z, but it was the hatred that
But I'm
the
sure
press
that the press
pushed
didn't
towards
help
it.
it, yeah, definitely.
Completely. I won't give my opinion on YouTube and stuff of this because I'll start ranting and that. But
Yeah.
it's definitely something negative press or press in general, it could be very detrimental to your mental health.
Or people just saying things too quickly without thinking about what they're saying. Is that actually got any kindness to it, or is it valid? Is it worth it? Will it hurt somebody at the other end? I think people hiding behind screens is really, really easy just to go to press send.
Yeah.
I mean, even my 8-year-old has learned that in school, and she said very profoundly, it's a bit like a toothpaste paste. Once you squeeze it and the toothpaste gone out, you can't put it back in again. And that's
a cracking assembly.
It's a very good assembly, but she took that in, and even if an 8-year-old knows that once it's out there, it's out. All these adults who spread these negativities and are very quick to pounce on people for differences of opinions, maybe they should hold the reins in a little bit and just think, kindness first. Wouldn't do her harm, would it, really? But
our peers don't make it any better, does it? You
no,
look at some politicians, we're all singing off the same hymn sheet, we've got to try and beat this for our country to go forward, and then suddenly an opposition is having a go at, like, Boris for something that is just irrelevant of...
Well, all the politicians are classic examples of doing negativity. You can see it when they rally for Parliament and how they don't talk about what they're going to do, they talk about what the other one doesn't do. Instead of just looking at what they do themselves. It's owning your own thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And a lot of them are bad for that.
Oh, completely. So it like, as the saying goes, shit rolls downhill.
Yeah.
Learning by other people's learned behaviour.
Yeah.
Keeping active. We've kept active quite a lot, haven't we, Jordan?
Yeah, you more than me.
Well, I've been teaching classes. I've teaching about 3 or 4 classes, and then now we're allowed to go on our bike.
Yeah.
I was sort of governed to an hour, as we were, so I had an hour's loop, which is okay. But then on a Friday now is a nice 4-hour cycle. It's good, especially with the weather at the moment.
Yeah, great weather.
You going for a walk with the kids?
Yeah, do a walk every day with the kids.
Got the dog, so that gives us an excuse. But what I have enjoyed about COVID or the lockdown is the amount of families I've seen out on bikes, out on a walk.
I wonder if that's going to stick.
I so hope so, that people don't get sucked back into the rat race of, I haven't got time. Because you have got time.
It used to be a real battle before to get the kids to come out off their devices and stuff like that and to come out for a walk at the weekend. But I'm going to stick to it now. So when we start going back to things, I'm going to say every weekend, every Saturday, Sunday, we'll go for a walk together. That's it. There's no arguments. And I think because I'm so adamant with it, it works as well. Do you know what I mean? And not let them
It's amazing seeing families going for little walks on the canal or a trail of them on the bikes.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
I loved it. Especially, I love seeing people on bikes anyway. But yeah, I think the thing's been great. Really, really good.
Yeah.
Do you think not mental health, because everyone's got mental health, fall into the same... I've been doing this for ages and still fall into the same terminology. Mental illness. Do we think that's peaked? Things gone up?
I think so.
I think it's probably increased.
And I think after all this, there's going to be an issue with post-traumatic as well, because firstly, from all the NHS staff, what they experienced, they've been on the front line and what they've seen, they don't get a chance to react to it now almost. So when all of this is hopefully over, I think that's going to be a huge mental illness peak with them because of the trauma that they've seen and what they've been through. I think there's a lot of people who's going to feel really bad. And also we were talking about, at a webinar I was watching today, I was talking about people going back into work. So for example, going back onto the tube, the anxiousness that's going to cause some people, and going back into the real world as of such. I mean, I find that I'm sticking to like a routine. I prefer to shop in my local co-op. Do you know what I mean? Instead of going to the bigger shops, you sort of get a bit indoctrinated with doing that, and then now
so I'm quite alright with it.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. You've got a different attitude to it than I've had. I think I've been...
me nan.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Me nan come down and she nearly died on Good Friday, and then she resurrected again on the Sunday, and then on Easter Sunday, she's had 2 COVID tests and all come back clear, even though she's been sat with someone who sadly passed away of COVID. Absolutely fine. And every now and again she has a little blip, and then the following day she's eating cake with the carers. So I'm taking precedence of that, and my nanny's like,
Still.
Just to put this out to you, she nearly died on Good Friday, she resurrected on Sunday, and her initials are JC.
There you go.
So that makes me a grandson of God.
You live with
So I'm
that,
immune
that's
to it.
Yeah.
No, I'm absolutely fine with going. The one thing, I abide by the 2 metre rule,
Yeah.
which I try to as much as I can,
Yeah.
apart from the absolute arseholes that have the mask on and think they're just like the Terminator and can
Yeah.
walk anywhere
Yeah.
just because they've got a mask on,
I think
because they don't
people get a
abide by that
sense
2
of-
metre rule.
Yeah, they think they're immune just because they're wearing a mask,
Mm.
and you're not immune.
I can certainly understand how people are anxious.
Haven't even told you that, but I have worried about it, and I'm a little bit. When I got antiseptic wipes in the car, and I wash my hands when I get back straight away. First thing I do, don't let the kids touch me. I was just thinking about, it's the way,
But I think mental illness will spike.
you will.
But it's forever going up anyway because of the communication and people talking about it more,
People feeling like they
and
can be
people
open.
knowing, and the people can go out and go and get help.
Yeah.
I like to think that there's help there for the nurses as and when as it's going, which I'm sure there is.
I'm sure there will be.
But you can have the help there, and you can have the person suffering or in a bad way, but it's meeting them together, isn't it?
Definitely.
It took me 12 years, didn't it, or 10 years, whatever it was.
And I think as well, there's a certain element with doctors and nurses that they're supposed to just cope with it. So the element of saying I'm struggling is very difficult because of the kind of jobs that you are in, because you don't think about caring for yourself, you care about for others. So automatically they'll just care for everybody else without looking at themselves to care for themselves. I think that's a lot to do it. And I've met some people through work and everything like that who's had family members who took their own life and who were doctors. And there's a certain element of perfection and being the best, so that therefore you would never admit to the fact that you were suffering and everything like that, because that's sort of seen as a negative thing. So I think if hospitals, NHS and all this can give all the NHS staff a possibility to actually say, yeah, I'm not okay, I need a day off. They should almost install care days for them after this, so they can have that day just to take it to feel better, or deal with it, or talk to somebody, or...
Yeah, and the doctors and the nurses that I spoke to that are not professionally I've spoke to, but I've spoke to them as in a friend.
Yeah.
I've got quite a few
me
friends
too,
he's going to come on actually.
Your
I
mate.
don't know, what is he? A consultant. He's quite high up. He's a anaesthetist consultant. And I talked to him, and he's quite level about it, and all nurses are quite level about it, and they see it so often, especially in A&E.
Yeah, very resilient, yeah.
They know, and I think they might see the symptoms, and as a profession, they would find it easier to find help than other
Yeah,
professions.
maybe.
Like a builder.
Yeah, maybe. Well, let's hope so, because I think there will be an after fate.
Yeah. So what have you learned from COVID? Let's do the questions we've got. What have you learned from COVID?
I've learned that I'm definitely not a teacher.
Yeah.
I've also learned that I'm actually quite patient. I thought I was patient, but I think I am actually very patient. That I'm patient.
With me.
That you're patient? No. Oh, patient with me, maybe.
Yeah, I've got no patience.
I don't think you're patient. What have you learned? I'm sure there's more. I've got to think more about it to have more things to take away.
That nothing's that important.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Nothing's like when I always refer back to the rat race or whatever, and it's like, I've got to be there on time. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. I've got to send that email. I've got to send that email. No, you ain't, mate. Go and enjoy the sun and sit outside for 10 minutes. It's nothing is that important.
No, I suppose it's different for you because you've been furloughed, so you can take that space time. Because I'm self-employed, I've felt like a need to having to do more to keep a livelihood going, and if I don't adhere myself to those contracts, then I'm going to lose them.
No, that's not what I'm saying. If there's a deadline that you need to do by Friday 4 o'clock, do a deadline by Friday 4 o'clock because you need that for work.
Yeah.
But it's the I must do it, and so procrastinating doing other little jobs where just go and sit down for 10 minutes and chill out a little bit.
Yeah, I haven't learned that.
Nothing's that important.
I've learned about
Sort of that mañana attitude, isn't it?
Was that what you've taken on board then from that?
I've learned more to control the controllables.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean? The things that I've got no influence over or can do anything about. I know I've read the Chin Paradox, and I always say it changed my life in the way that I used to get really heated about stupid stuff that I had no control over whatsoever, and it changed me. But I've even took it a step further, I think.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's just like, it just doesn't bother me at all if I can't control it.
They're more like horizontal.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think I learned more to appreciate the little things. Not that I didn't do it before, but I think having the time to appreciate the little things. Like a good giggle, or when the kids would say something funny, or...
Positives? It's not what you learn. What's a positive?
But there's loads of positives. That's why I thought we'd cover that.
We covered that, did I say?
Yeah, we said that
I said
before.
learn. Obviously, you
learned.
ad-libbed, didn't you? You went into the positive.
Oh, okay.
You stepped ahead.
Well, yeah.
I've learnt loads. Because I've done quite a lot of self-development, because I've been thankful for the time, because I'm furloughed, not allowed to work. I've got a lot of self-development to do with a programme that I've got through work, and it's stuff like syllabuses on timekeeping, leadership. So I've watched a lot of TED Talks, I've read a lot of articles and stuff. I've been mind blown by that timekeeping thing.
Yeah, because you've had time to be more like proactive, really, haven't you?
Right.
Like, with everything. Whereas I've been more reactive.
I've really enjoyed the learning stuff.
Good.
And I've done it quite quickly. Whereas if I was at work and it's in your own time, it would have took a lot longer.
That's true. What?
I've just blatantly just said like common sense type thing, haven't I? You know there?
Yeah, I'm just checking.
The mic's not on. So we'll finish the. I think we'll finish the video,
I think so.
and then we'll see if it works.
Yep.
Cool. Look, I wonder what you're staring at then. I thought it was.
Yeah, I just thought, did you switch the mic on?
Oh right, okay. Well, just turn it on and just leave it down there, and we'll see where it goes.
Okay. Sorry. Teething problems.
Hard. What have you found hard about it? Give me one thing that's really been hard about the lockdown.
Everyone being in my space.
Yeah.
Because I'm used to working from home here. It's my space, send the kids up to school, you go off to work, close the door and I work, right, I've got that many hours, get down to work and I'll work. That's what I've been finding hard.
Yeah, I found it hard as well. It's just when you want your own space, and no fault of anybody else, you just need that little bit of like muteness. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you find your own way of getting around it, which we have, I think. But found it hard not seeing the kids.
Yeah.
It's been 10 weeks now that I haven't seen the kids, and it's pretty. It's shit. Although Facebook and WhatsApp and Instagram stuff I speak to the kids with, it's great. There's that technology, but it's still shit. I can't take the beach.
Yeah.
So the first thing when we're allowed is to pick them up, go to the beach, and have fish and chips on the beach like we've
definitely.
done. So that's been hard. And I suppose the freedom, isn't it?
Yeah, not having the freedom to choose.
It's the freedom of doing anything you want to do at any given time.
Yeah.
We're not that's been hard, not having the
and
freedom.
I also think that uncertainty, this has been hard for me. Uncertainty with work, uncertainty with money, uncertainty with what life's going to be like in a few months. I've been worrying a lot about the future. So the uncertainty is a big thing. I know that I can't control the uncontrollable, but I've still been like putting plans in place. Okay, what if that happens? What am I going to do then? That kind of thing.
I thought of another positive.
Okay.
I was going bald,
Oh.
as everyone kept on telling me.
Yeah.
And I had saw the comb over, and then before COVID and before Lanzarote, I was taking it shorter and shorter and shorter to sort of get used to the idea, because I never wanted to have a comb over like Bobby Charlton. And then because it's COVID, I've had to go all half anyway.
Yeah.
So that
And it's
decision,
easy, isn't it?
that decision has been taken out of my hands,
Yeah.
and I'm quite liking it. I think my beard's a bit longer than my head,
Yeah.
but I'm going to run with it.
Yeah. And it's cheaper.
Yeah, bought my own clippers, do it myself now.
Yeah.
Although I did it myself the other day, and then did a live cook-off, and then looked like that, I had one big tuft coming out the corner of my head. Looked like a horn. But yeah, that's good. So this is going to be a weekly thing?
Yeah. But it's not just going to be us sitting here chattering on about all sorts of things. We're going to have some guests, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to get guests from all walks of life, talking about mental health, if they've had an experience in mental illness, like we did with the book, really. Yeah. We when we interviewed people for the book, we asked them 3 questions: what they live with, how they live with it, and what their favourite food is.
Yeah.
You might think that's quite random, but the favourite food, because the book has got quite a lot of recipes in it, so that's why we did it. Yeah. So from all walks of life, really. So if there's a story, if there's an opinion, like we did with the radio, we got all sorts on the radio, didn't we?
And deal with different topics of mental ill health, so that people can listen to other people, have that experience, and hopefully get some help from that. Yeah.
So what we did was Knowledge Corner, wasn't it? We called it. Might call it something different, but we have that jingle. Where we went A to Z, and we just briefly spoke about and tried to marry up the guest with that, and talk about, like, a good one is OCD. Nobody has a clue what OCD is. Well, they know what it stands for, but they don't really know what it is.
No.
That's why the term is used quite
flippantly.
Yeah, flippantly, and it angers me and angers a very good friend of ours, Richards, who lives with OCD.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll do that. So we want to educate you, because that's what we think. My passion is to destigmatise mental illness in society. Then education needs to be there. Communication, education. Because when I lived with it, and I was suicidal thoughts and self-harming and stuff all the way through my 20s, I thought it was normal. I thought every bloke or every person had this or thought this, because there was no education there. I didn't have a clue what depression was. I didn't have a clue what anything was. So if we fill the space with education, then hopefully people will see the symptoms early and then go on. Because was it 50% of all cases start at the age of 14 in adolescence, and it takes up to 10 years to diagnose that 14-year-old. So they might get to the age of 24 before they're told what that last 10 years was about, which is absolutely shocking.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, because they don't think anything's wrong, and they just live their life like it, getting on with life.
Yeah, and not having open conversation, or feeling able to have an open conversation about it.
Yeah. So that's our plan. We're going to do a weekly one, aren't we?
Yeah.
We'll try and stick to a weekly one. Not all of them will be with guests.
No.
We'll try and get as many guests as we can, all through Zoom. So we'll have a live video on YouTube, and then the audio will be pinged onto Spotify, so you can listen to it in your car. Wouldn't suggest looking at the video in the car. No. Disclaimer there.
Yeah.
Should we do that? That's it then, isn't it?
That's it then. Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Have a wine. Celebrate. Well, if the mic works. If not, you see me in a minute.
Watch your back.
If the mic hasn't worked, we'll be back.
Yeah.
And then this will be in the outtakes in a month's time.
Yeah. First one.
Yeah. So, thank you very much for listening and tuning in, if you've listened. And about there... Back there, there'll be a subscribe button.
Just above Stu's belly.
And then up there, there'll be next video.
Yay!
I'm getting all good at this tech stuff.
Cool.
Okay, so thank you very much.
Follow the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Just search The Mental Wind Down. Listen anytime and anywhere.